Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about a really cool character, Melina, from Forsaken by Tenaya Jayne. And the reason I think she's so cool is that the way Tenaya reveals her story, it's not in chronological order at all. So
hmm
it's really a challenge to try to put together like who she is and how she evolves throughout the story.
Yeah, you really have to use your brain to follow this one. It's a really unique way to tell a story.
Right. So I guess to get started, why don't we talk about some of Melina's core conflicts and what drives her throughout the story?
Yeah, so I think at the heart of it, Melina is dealing with a lot of displacement. The story opens with her as a blood-addicted killer. She killed her life mate, Tristan. But then later we find out that Tristan was never actually her true destined mate.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, Destiny, the being who is in charge of soul bridges, she intentionally paired Melina with someone who wasn't her match.
So she was living a lie, basically, whole
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, and that really throws everything we thought we knew about Melina into a new light. And it makes you think about free will and destiny and how someone can be manipulated like that.
Wow. So how does this conflict manifest in her character?
Well, it makes her question everything and challenge expectations. We see her going against societal norms and taking control of her own story.
Which is all revealed out of order, right?
Exactly. We get all these glimpses into different parts of her life. So let's actually jump back in time and talk about one of the earliest scenes, chronologically speaking. That's the scene with the blood tree in the Wolf's Wood.
Oh, yeah, that was creepy. That tree was like something out of a nightmare, demanding Melina's blood for passage.
Yeah, and what's interesting is the tree's reaction to her blood. It says that her blood is sweet, which seems like just a random detail.
But then, knowing what we know now about how Melina's blood plays a role in breaking Rain's curse later on, it makes you think that was some serious foreshadowing.
Right. It hints that there's something special about her blood, some kind of magic or power within her. And blood as a motif is present throughout the whole story. It connects her addiction to something deeper.
So it's not just physical, it's connected to her destiny in a way.
Yeah. And at this point, she's also carrying Tristan's heart around with her, which is a pretty desperate attempt to hold on to that connection, even though it was based on a lie. It shows how much pain she's in.
Right. And then she meets Rain, who's this powerful being who can't be touched. He's repulsed by her at first, but then he becomes drawn to her sound, which he can hear because they made physical contact in the past.
It's a very unique kind of attraction. He fears intimacy, but he's captivated by Melina on a deeper level.
It's almost spiritual.
Exactly.
Mm.
And their relationship challenges our ideas of love and destiny.
Okay. So we've got manipulated destiny and a very unconventional love interest. What happens next?
Well, the story jumps ahead again, and we find Melina being sold as a slave. She has this weird mark on her chest, a broken circle that will eventually connect her back to Rain and the curse he's under.
It's crazy how the story goes from this kind of intimate connection with Rain to Melina literally being sold as property.
It's a huge contrast, and it really highlights the themes of power and control in the novel. Melina is constantly at the mercy of others, whether it's destiny or her captor Salem.
But even in that situation, she's still resilient.
Oh, definitely. There's a scene where she's training with Salem, and even though he has all the power, she challenges him. You can see her will to fight back.
Do you think her defiance is because she knows her destiny was stolen? Like she needs to take back control?
That's a really good question, and something I think we'll need to look at more closely as we go through these excerpts.
So we've got blood magic, a manipulated destiny, a touch of Earth's love interest, and a whole lot of defiance. Where do we go from here?
I think we need to unpack this auction scene a bit more. It's not just about Melina being enslaved. It's where we're introduced to Salem, who recognizes that broken circle on her chest. That tiny detail is what sets everything else in motion and brings Melina and Rain back together.
Ooh, this is where things start to get really good. Let's dig into that in part 2.
Okay, so we were talking about the auction scene and how significant it is.
Right. It's not just about Melina being enslaved.
Yeah.
It's about that broken circle and Salem recognizing it.
Exactly. That mark, it's not just a symbol of ownership. It represents something much bigger. It's tied to Rain and the curse.
It's almost like a brand.
Yeah.
But it also connects Melina and Rain, even though they're separated.
Yeah, and it hints at this whole power dynamic that's at play. It turns out the broken circle is a symbol of the curse that's limiting Rain. And the fact that Melina has it suggests she might be the key to breaking it.
Wow. So the broken circle isn't just random. It's a major plot point.
Totally. It connects Melina's fate to Rain's, to the curse, and to this intricate web of power.
It's like a key that unlocks a deeper understanding of the story.
Right, and I think Tenaya is playing with classic fantasy tropes here. We have this damsel in distress, but Melina's anything but helpless.
Yeah.
And there's a chosen one, but we don't know if it's Melina or if they're Destinies are connected in a more complicated way.
It's like she's taking these familiar elements and turning them on their head to create something totally new.
Exactly. And that's also true for the romance between Melina and Rain. Their relationship is messy and unconventional. It's definitely not love at first sight.
Their first meeting was so awkward, Rain was terrified of touching her. And Melina was, well, a blood-addicted killer.
Yeah. But even then, there's this undeniable attraction between them.
It's that shared sound that draws them together. The fact that Rain can hear souls adds this whole other dimension to their relationship.
It's like they connect on a spiritual level before they even understand each other on a human level.
And this connection drives both of their journeys.
Absolutely. Melina's quest to break the curse is intertwined with her desire to free Rain from his limitations.
It's not just about saving him. It's about connecting with him on a deeper level.
Which brings us to another important theme, their reunion.
Yeah, after being apart for so long, you'd expect it to be this happy moment, but it's not.
No, Rain is distant and cold because of the curse. He can't fully reciprocate Melina's feelings.
It's heartbreaking
Mm.
because we know how much she cares for him.
And Tenaya doesn't shy away from the complexities of their situation. She shows the hurt and frustration that come with loving someone who's struggling to connect.
But Melina doesn't give up. She challenges Rain and pushes him to face his emotions.
She's mirroring her own defiance of destiny in a way. She's determined to break through Rain's walls.
And this dynamic between them makes their relationship so interesting.
It's a constant push and pull. It's not a passive love story. It's a battle for connection.
It's like their love is forcing them both to grow and become better versions of themselves.
And that theme of growth is so important to Melina's story. She starts out lost and broken, but she transforms into this strong and defiant woman.
Which leads us to her confrontation with Seraph.
That scene is amazing. It's full of tension and really shows how much Melina has grown. Seraph Rain's wife represents everything Melina is fighting against.
She's manipulative and power-hungry.
Yeah, and the contrast between them is striking. Melina has been through so much, but she still has compassion. But Seraph just wants power.
And it's in this confrontation that Melina takes control. She reclaims the curse as her own.
It's such a powerful moment. She's rejecting the limitations that have been forced on her.
It's not just about defeating Seraph. It's about Melina taking charge of her own destiny.
Exactly. And that sets the stage for the final part of the novel, her journey to the Tomb of Kings.
Okay, so we've talked about the broken circle, the romance, the power dynamics, and Melina's transformation. But there's still so much to cover.
You're right. We still need to explore the Tomb of Kings and the revelation of Melina's true destiny.
Okay, so last time we were talking about that crazy confrontation with Seraph and Melina, claiming the curse as her own, and now she's headed to the Tomb of Kings. What can you tell us about this place?
It's not just a tomb. It's like a wellspring of Regia's history. It's full of power and ancient secrets. It's a place where the lines between reality and, well, magic get kind of blurry.
So not just a graveyard, then?
Right. More like a focal point for all that mystical energy, the place where destinies are made, and maybe even broken.
And this is where Melina finally meets Destiny face to face.
Yeah, after all that manipulation, she finally gets to confront the one who orchestrated it all.
That must have been intense. I mean, to finally come face to face with the being who basically messed up your life.
It is. And what's interesting is how Melina handles it. She doesn't just fly off the handle. She wants answers. She needs to know why Destiny paired her with Tristan, why she put her through all that pain.
Yeah. What does Destiny say about all that?
Huh.
Does she even try to justify her actions?
Well, she doesn't deny manipulating things. She actually says it was necessary. She saw something special in Rain, something that needed protecting. So she used Melina as a means to an end, basically a pawn in her big cosmic game.
So she's admitting to playing puppet master with Melina's life, all for some greater purpose.
It's pretty messed up even for a being like Destiny. And it brings up all these questions about power and free will and what happens when beings with that much power interfere in the lives of mortals.
Yeah, like, was Destiny really acting in everyone's best interest? Or was it just her ego deciding what was best for everyone else?
That ambiguity is what makes this scene so powerful. We're left wondering about the morality of it all, trying to figure out if there's any justification for that level of manipulation.
So how does Melina react to all of this? Does she just accept that she was a pawn?
Not at all. This is where her character arc really culminates. She refuses to let Destiny control her story. She acknowledges the pain, the trauma, but she won't let it define her.
So it's not just about Rain anymore. It's about her breaking free from this predetermined path.
Exactly. And this is where the symbolism of the Tomb of Kings comes full circle. It's not just about death, it's about rebirth transformation. By confronting Destiny in that place, Melina is leaving behind the old version of herself, the one who is trapped by that false destiny. She's coming into her own.
It's like she's taking back her story and writing her own ending.
Exactly. And we see this in the final scenes. She stands up to Seraph, she claims the curse, and ultimately helps Rain break free.
Hmm.
Their reunion isn't just about romantic love, it's the culmination of their struggles and growth. It shows the power of resilience and connection.
You mentioned earlier that Forsaken plays with classic fantasy tropes. So how does the ending fit into that?
It both fulfills and subverts expectations. We have the happy ending with the curse broken and the potential for a family, but it's not all tied up in a neat bow. Rain is still dealing with his past, and Melina still has her own burdens.
Yeah, that last line. That idea appeals too. It implies that even though she's chosen to be with Rain, she's still open to possibilities, still questioning things.
Exactly. And that's what makes Tenaya's writing so great. She gives us closure, but leaves room for nuance. We see that even in a happy ending, life is still complicated.
So after all this, what do you think is the most important takeaway from Melina's journey?
Even in a world where destiny seems fixed, where powerful forces are pulling the strings, we still have the power to make choices, to challenge, to change. Melina's story shows us that we're not just pawns. We can shape our own narratives, break free from limitations, and create our own future.
That's a great point. And for our listeners out there, if you're intrigued by all of this, I highly recommend checking out Forsaken. It's a wild ride full of twists and turns, and it really makes you think about fate, free will, and the strength of the human spirit.
And keep in mind, life is rarely simple, just like Melina's journey. Embrace the complexities, question your assumptions, and never underestimate your own ability to grow and change.
Well said. It's been a pleasure diving into Forsaken with you.
Likewise. Until next time, keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.